Alright guys, before we start, Roger here says hey. Scarlett says hey too. She's on the floor right here. I'm not going to ask her to get up. So I'm kind of excited about this. It's really been a long time since I've done any sort of comedy on my channel. I am going to take a look at this sitcom. This is a British sitcom called Dad's Army. It's been recommended to me quite a few times, so we're going to take our first look at it today. Now, I had to look up what Dad's Army is about, actually, and so Wikipedia says it's a BBC sitcom about the British Home Guard during the Second World War. It was broadcast from 1968 to 1977. It ran for 9 series, or seasons as we say over here in the US, 80 episodes in total. There was also a radio version based on the television scripts, and a feature film, and a stage show. Wow. So this was kind of like a big deal, it seems like, back in the day, back in Britain. The series regularly gained audiences of 18 million viewers and is still repeated worldwide. Yeah, 18 million viewers is pretty good, actually. Now, I am a big fan of the World War II era. In fact, it's probably my favorite era in history, I think, at least so far. Of course, I'm exploring a lot of new areas of history on this channel, and I'm learning something new all the time, so we'll see. But I love World War II, and I love, you know, movies and TV shows that have to do with it as well. And if they're comedies, that's even better, because I love comedy way, way more than I love, like, dramatic shows and stuff. So it'll also be interesting, since this is a British sitcom, just how different the comedy might be from, you know, shows of that same time over here in the States. Now, I personally also really like old TV shows and movies. My favorite era of movies is like between the 40s and the 60s, and for TV, my favorite TV shows are like from the 1960s basically. So I love stuff from this era, so the old like black and white stuff doesn't throw me at all. To me, it's very, very natural to watch stuff like that. But I am interested in seeing just like how different sitcoms, British sitcoms, are presented compared to US sitcoms, how different humor is and jokes and all of that stuff. Now, I have seen, I think, Are You Being Served? That sitcom that used to play on PBS here in the States, and may still, I don't know, I haven't watched TV in a really long time, but I used to watch that like late at night sometimes, so I have like had a little bit of an experience with British sitcoms before, and I remember kind of enjoying watching that. Of course, this is going to be very different, completely different situation, but now the whole series is on YouTube. If I like this show, we might continue with the entire series, but for now, I'm just going to take my first look at it and just kind of get a feel for the show and, you know, what it's about and, you know, what it's like. So we're just gonna dive in. We're gonna watch episode 1 of Dad's Army, like the whole thing. I know like maybe other people probably do like quicker clips of it or whatever, but I'm more like, I just like being more thorough, and so I want to like see the entire first episode of this. Now, I don't know, there were 9 seasons is said in here, so maybe some seasons are better than others. I don't know how good the first season is or how good the first episode is. You know, typically they tend to not be quite as good as like later episodes or whatever, so I don't know if that's the case with this show or not. You guys can let me know down in the comments. Anyway, I'm excited to see my first, you know, look at Dad's Army. Let's just get started, I guess.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest of honor, one of Warmington-on-Sea's most distinguished citizens.
They're retreating? Oh, is this Dunkirk? It's like teasing him.
When it comes up against British troops, it's a different story. They fight him every inch of the way. We all have our part to play, and every effort is being made to confuse the enemy.
At any moment, hordes of German parachutists may drop on us from the skies. They'll be using all sorts of disguises, you know. A whole platoon of them could come dressed as nuns, set up their headquarters in that church across the road, and you'll never notice. And I'm not going to get very far if you're going to invite them to step this way, am I? Quick march, if you will.
There, sir. All right, quick march!
Not much point, I'm here already.
Certainly, sir. Thank you, sir.
When did you leave the army?
1915, sir.
Trust.
All their weapons are like brooms and stuff.
Attention! All right, sir. The men are all ready for your inspection.
Now squat down on the floor.
At the double.
How can they squat at the double? Draw on this representation of a German tank for us. And I want you to observe the following points.
Oh gosh.
Heavy armor in the front here, usually 4-inch plating. Fraser, you will prise open the lid of the tank with a crowbar. Walker will have a bomb in each hand, which will be ignited by Corporal Jones, and they will be pushed into the aperture. Godfrey, you're in charge of the tank, over at the other end of the room. There we are. Now, Sergeant Wilson will blow a whistle when we're ready
Oh
to go.
gosh, they're not going to set this on fire.
No, of course not, boy. Of course not. This is a dummy run, for heaven's sake.
All right, stand by.
Make a noise like a tank.
I say, you fascist beasts!
No, 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 no,
Look, start again. We have an unbreakable spirit to win. A bulldog tenacity that will help us to hang on while there's breath left in our bodies. You get that by being British. So come on, Adolf. We're ready for you.
Air raid siren. Ha! Well, you know what? I actually really enjoyed that. Of course, I, again, love comedy stuff and, you know, older comedy especially. I just love the way that they used to do jokes and, you know, they didn't, like, have to use a bunch of, like, dirty language and stuff to be funny, you know, so I just love, like, stuff from that era. Like, the humor is pretty, like, British, I guess. It's definitely different. Like, if this was done in the US, it would be a very different show, I feel like. Yeah, the situation that they set up with these guys, it just reminded me of a bunch of kids, like when kids get together and they like play army or whatever. I feel like that's basically what was happening here, but of course it was with a much more serious situation. I don't want to like downplay the situation or anything, but that was, I think, part of the humor. It was like bringing a bit of that element into it, but also it was just like that classic, I don't know, it's really hard for me to put into words. It's not like self-deprecating type humor. It's like you don't have all the resources to do what you need to do, so you just kind of like make stuff up on the spot, and it's absolutely ridiculous, you know, but that's what makes it funny. But it's also cool that I feel like I'm learning a bit of a history here too, because I actually did not really know about like the civil defense. I mean, I think maybe I had heard about it just really quick in passing in previous like documentaries on World War II I've seen, but I've never like seen anything that like focused on that part of it. So it's kind of cool seeing a bit of like realistic history in the midst of all of this ridiculous funny stuff happening. And what a great like idea also for a sitcom, like taking a bunch of civilians and putting them into a military situation, and like the civilians trying to like replicate a military situation, but of course they fail miserably at it. Like, it's just such a great like little, you know, situation to put, you know, a comedy in. I feel like it just naturally lends itself to a lot of comedy. So wait, I think I'm going to continue with this and watch, we'll watch the rest of these episodes, I think, because I love this. It's marrying, you know, World War II with comedy, which I like, with history. So we're going to continue on with Dad's Army. I hope you guys like this show too, and hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And if you are also interested, my social media, Discord, Patreon links are all in the description of this video and in my pinned comment. Roger here, and I thank you guys for watching as always, and we'll see you next time for episode 2.